Before you start tearing down, have your AC professionally drained. It's so much easier to take it to them than for them to come to you. Trust me. Step 1. You gotta remove those Miata seats in order to get to anything. It's really just 4 bolts below. But first, you gotta remove your Nerf ball from behind the seat. It's Nerf or nothing! Once you do that, you can get to those 4 bolts below. Is it even a Miata if you don't find a super tampon behind your seat? Asking the real questions. Lift that bad boy out. A good thing to remember here is you might have to unclip some wires if you have a speaker in the headrest. Now you gotta clean out your console, everything else that you've used as your car has been in storage. Yikes. I'm a very rich widow with a terrible secret. And now comes the joy of removing the center console. It's pretty straightforward. I've sped it up in case you want to watch, but it's basically just removing a bunch of Phillips head screws. There's some along inside the center console, as you can see. There's some along the sides. You'll have to unscrew the shifter knob to get this out of the way as well. Make sure you've cleared everything out and you should be good. Take a little bit of extra precaution if you have power windows, because you will have switches attached to this which have clips to some wiring below. So don't yank on it if you feel a little bit of tension. If you happen to have power windows, you do need to unclip those first. The number of times this stupid seatbelt has failed on me, frightening. Very happy to pull it out. I have no idea what these went to. Label your parts, kids! Now I'm just removing these side brackets for the carpet. They just help hold that in place. More Phillips head screws. It's pretty easy, and you'll just pop those right up. So at this point I was tempted to try and remove the carpet, but I just ended up losing something. Case in point. So just maybe hold off for now. It's a little ways before we actually start removing this, but you know, have at it if you want. Anyway, now we can remove the tombstone by prying out the air vents. There are going to be screws behind and visible screws along the sides. Unfortunately, I did not have the right tool to unbolt the glove box. There was a lot of this. Once you find what I believe to be the 10, you can start taking apart the glove box and then immediately trying to figure out how the heck to remove it. If you kind of feel around there for a second, you might realize it's simpler than you think, or than I thought. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Hey. Next, you'll pop off a series of panels from all around the dash. You'll basically just pop these out, if you can see, and remove what's behind it. And there are a couple of these all over. I should also mention there's a sneaky one right in the top center, right where the windshield meets the dash. Full disclosure, the dash started to piss me off, so I was like, you know what? Let's move on to the doors. First step, removing these speakers. At this point, I'm just taking out some of these clips that are holding some of these wires in the door. So you just want to make sure you get all these so you can kind of feed it through. You'll do that in a little bit. And now comes the most satisfying part. Hammering out this little pin from in between the door. And take it from me, when it doesn't work, it's infuriating. This doesn't work either. You're going to have to get something a little bit more dedicated. You might squish some fingers, but you know what? It works. Yeah. Now feed the wires to the door. Now reattach your door card and beat it to within an inch of its life. Now remove the top and bottom bolts that are holding the door to the car. Don't worry, I filmed myself struggling on the other door. It's not pretty, but honestly, I just kind of wiggle this component out here after disconnecting everything that I could see and removing any connections to the firewall. All I can say is, whoever buys this part is gonna love it! So you'll disconnect some wires underneath the dash, of course, and then you'll disconnect some more. And then when you think you're done, you're gonna disconnect some more, because it's never ending. Got one! Rip in peace my fingertips. Of course, you can unplug everything you want, but you're not going to pull that dash without removing the steering column from the firewall, which is exactly what I'm not doing here. So do that first. Don't be like me. Why is this a recurring theme? Oh, did I mention that there are wires that you missed? Go back. Just do it. You missed something. I promise. I'm sure you'll all tell me in the comments how you didn't miss a single thing. Don't lie to me like that. Come on, guys. After I finally decided to remove those 3 simple bolts to release the steering column, it's finally happening! Yes. Oh, you missed one. Yeah, that's what I thought. And now I'll be removing the brake master cylinder in the sloppiest way possible. You can probably turkey baster this, you can bleed it from the brake lines. I knew this car was getting chopped up, so I didn't mind making a mess. Sorry, Mom! Alright, just let me have the thing. It did not let her have the thing. Oh, hey, Morgan Freeman. Thanks for joining us. Now lift the brake master cylinder off and try not to spill toxic goo everywhere. Ooh. Yikes. Live moss. Those Taco Bell bolts I just showed you are what I'm currently trying to get to in order to separate the steering column. This is not cute. Ow, 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 ow. Our connector to the back. As you can see, this mostly just resulted in a little bit of pinched flailing. Just, be patient with it. Not gonna reach it. About to throw a temper tantrum. I'm so mad. Hey. And off it goes. Now we will frustratingly release the bolts to the firewall in order to release the brake booster. By removing this pin, you can separate the brake booster from the pedal assembly, which is honestly quite frightening. Now you can remove the brake booster, but honestly, wear gloves. Come to me. Probably should have still been wearing gloves. Yeah, and stop singing. Disconnect the hose. Oops, I need that. And wrestle that thing out of there. Oh no. Woohoo. Definitely should have been wearing gloves. Hey! Spider. Now we get to rip up some carpet to the tune of my mom's lawnmower. Sorry I didn't cut the grass. If I remember correctly, there were 12 of these 10mm bolts in here, and 2 of them are hidden behind this compartment, and this one's the last one you'll have to remove. Once you've unscrewed those bolts, you can remove the rain rail from inside and start separating the soft top. Mine is in particularly rough condition, so I really didn't mind tearing it up. I would be delicate if you're trying to conserve this, maybe sell it for parts afterward, but mine was pretty old. Now we're going to remove all the covering from on top of the gas tank. So basically it's that carpet, another layer of sound deadening, and then just some nasty fuzzy insulation. Ew, it's so fuzzy! Ah! That's gross. Once we remove this aluminum cover, we'll have access to the top of the gas tank. Back to the soft top, you'll need to remove these 3 bolts in order to separate the bracket that is holding down the soft top frame rails to the car. Once that's released, I recommend kind of playing with this to ensure that you're not breaking anything. Like I said, I wasn't too concerned, as you can tell. Well, the good thing, happy hard top. Soft top. Don't have to worry about it. Woohoo! Now you find a buddy to lift. Thanks, Mom! Perfect. Woo! Clearly, woohoo! Runs in the family. Thank you guys, as always, for watching and following along. I really appreciate it. I hope you found this helpful. I have 3 more videos coming that will show you how to tear down the entire Miata to the tub so you have the power plant frame to mate to the chassis of the Exocet. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.